Hello and welcome. It's me again, Eric, your nurse leader, and I am here to present to you another of my PowerPoint presentation when I was doing a random educational session to our nurses in the hospital where I am working. Uh, this is an introduction to leadership for our nurses. So I hope you'll enjoy and I hope you'll learn something from it. So once again, my name is Eric, your nursing leader. There are four learning objectives in this presentation. And within this presentation, the attendees or you who are listening right now will be able to first define define what leadership, what management. We will be able to know the difference between them. Also, we will be able to identify the different styles of leadership in nursing, as well as state the applicability of these styles. Also, we will be reflecting on each way of leadership, you and me, our style. So we will be reflecting on those. So, what is leadership and what is management? We will be defining each and then we will be differentiating them. Leadership is having a vision, sharing that vision and inspiring others to support your vision while creating their own, meaning you support your colleagues. This is as per Miss Mindy Gibbons Klein, founder of the Real Thought Leaders. According also to Lisa Cash Hansen, CEO of Snugwug, leadership is the ability to guide others without force into direction or decision that leaves them still feeling empowered and accomplished. Meaning, you are uh, you are influencing them into a decision by which you are still giving them the feeling of being empowered, right? So this leadership thing is setting a new direction or vision for a group that they follow. Meaning this, instead of you be as a leader catching the credit for the task or the activity that was carried over or carried out, you on the other hand is the one on the background and letting the people that you have led to have this credit, meaning you will take the part, the passive part of being credited, yet you will take the part of influencing them, influencing those that you are leading towards reaching their goals. Management, on the other hand, is a set of principles relating to the functions of planning, organizing, directing, and controlling in the application of these principles, and harnessing physical, financial, human, and informational resources efficiently to achieve organizational goals. Management controls or direct people, resources in a group according to principles or values that have established. So, to differentiate, not all managers are leaders, but all leaders are managers. Meaning, in our application as leaders, we are managing. But in our applications as managers or managing people, we may not effectively leading them. Thought to ponder. So, having to summarize its definition, the main difference between the two is that leaders have people that follow them, while managers have people who simply work for them. For any organization to be successful, it will need a management that can plan, organize, and coordinate its staff, while also inspiring and motivating them to perform to the best of their abilities. In my experience of working as a nursing service manager, uh, yes, I can say to you that I have planned and organized and coordinate staff and the resources that is required to perform the task. But I also is on ever journey of leading my team, meaning motivating them, inspiring them, so I can efficiently do the managing tasks. Yet I am also a student of life, a student of leadership. I am also in the stage wherein I I am leading my staff, inspiring them, motivating them in order for them to reach their own potential. So As a leader myself, I know that for a fact that I am to focus on that perspective, that is the inspiring others and the motivating them part. Because I already have an efficient way of managing my tasks or the activities that I'm responsible to produce outcomes with. Okay, so that is a simple definition or differentiation between the two. Also, in animation, this is the difference between the boss and the leader. The boss or the manager, let's say, this perspective, drives employees, asking them to do the things that they need to do. He has the authority, therefore he depends on it. He inspires, but inspires fear among the people who work for the organization. He says I, therefore takes credit on it. Places blame for the breakdown, knows how it is done, yet strictly asking his colleagues or his subordinates to do it based on that alone. He uses people. He takes credit out of the outcomes. He gives commands and therefore says, go do this. While the leader, on the other hand, coaches the subordinates on goodwill, performs the tasks. People depend on him on goodwill and they trust him because of this. He generates enthusiasm. He makes the task easier to do, easier to perform. People are more adhering to the tasks because they believed in him. He says we. How he can generate the belief of people to him? Because he says we rather than saying I. He doesn't focus on the blame. He does not blame people. Instead, focus on the solution. Fixes the breakdown. He shows rather than knowing it alone. He shows how to do it. He develops people rather than using them. He gives credit to where credit is due. He asks for favors. He asks for you to do the task. Nice way. Ask you to perform this because it's needed. Makes you understand the importance of you in doing the tasks. And he is leading in the forefront. Rather than saying just go, he includes himself and says let's go. So that's to animate the differentiation. That's a good way to differentiate between a boss and a leader. Here we proceed to the different leadership styles in nursing. There are five main leadership categories into which nurses tend to fall. This is as per the AANAC, or the American Association of Nurse Assessment Coordination. Five leadership styles mainly are as follows. First is the autocratic leadership style, the laissez-faire, the democratic, the transformational leadership, and the servant leadership style of leadership. So we go now and proceed to the first, which is the autocratic leadership. So what is this? It has a boss, and an autocratic nurse is the boss in this perspective. He makes all the decisions and gives specific orders and direction to subordinates and tends to discourage questions or dissent. This style works best for simple or straightforward tasks when you are time bounded, or you want to make sure that the strict legal or medical guidelines are adhered to. It can also help in emergency situations when there needs to be a strong voice giving direction. This style is not going to work when a nurse manager wants to build trust and teamwork among other team members. It will not work if you want to encourage creative problem solving. So this is what autocratic leadership is, and when it works and when it does not work. On the other hand, laissez-faire nurse is the opposite of the autocratic nurse. In this style, the nurse provides no specific directions for team members and adopts more of a hands-off approach to managing. This style is appropriate only when the nurse's team is already experienced and self-directed and doesn't necessarily need a general giving orders. This style doesn't work when the specific decision needs to be made and implemented, or team members are inexperienced. Democratic leadership, on the other hand, is when the nurse manager takes input from subordinates and encourages open communication. Democracy, this is where it came from. The decision making ultimately with the manager, yet the stakeholders and other team members are asked for honest feedback and given feedback in return. This style works best when the nurse wants to build relationships with the staff members and develop trust and accountability between them. Or when improving systems and processes is a priority, when everything is for development. You're asking for other people, other nurses' inputs. This style will not work when a concrete decision needs to be done. Gathering feedback and testing the waters with team members isn't necessarily helpful or feasible. Transformational leadership, the fourth one, is sometimes called visionary. When the nurse manager is focused on the big picture at hand, improving patient care, better systems, processes, and how to get there. This style works best when the workplace, in this case a hospital or clinic or a facility, need a big change in its organization, needs improvement. So this is very applicable to that scenario. This style won't work when the day-to-day decision making is required on small or specific issues. This is transformational leadership. The ever-growing servant leadership. This is where people tend to get more efficiency from. They tend to use this way as it generates better results according to some people. I'll explain in a detailed way later on why this is just but one of the ways that we can use and integrate in our ever dynamic style of leadership. Servant nurse leader focuses on team success via individual team members. Despite the meek sounding name, this management style has been gaining popularity over the past few years. This leader targets team members' needs, ensuring that they have skills, relationships, and tools to achieve individual and group goals. So, who doesn't want this? This, based on the definition itself, it is gaining popularity because it sounds and it seems like it is the right thing to do. But this style works best only when a team has diverse members with different tasks and responsibilities. But it will not work when the top-down decision needs to be made, meaning we need to do a decision making or decision that entails for a cascade ladder downward that you need to implement. It needs to follow collective directions, so it will not work on this scheme, the ladder or the cascade, the descending ladder cascade that I'm referring to. So we come here in the most interesting part of the whole presentation, the application. If you were to ask me as a seasoned nurse leader myself who happened to have both clinical and administrative experience for around 15 years of practicing nursing, I can say to you that the most effective style of leadership is having no style at all, no definite style, meaning I am free to adapt which style is relevant or applicable at a given particular time. So if I need to work on team building, trust relationships, all of that stuff, I can utilize a democratic approach as long as there is there is no time frame, there is no decision that needs to be done. I have the free time to develop the team and develop the trust. If my team is strong and that the particular tasks on hand are to be kept within that output alone, meaning I already have an output and my colleagues or my team just need to progress and just to maintain this output. A laissez-faire could be a best way to approach this. I will let them be. but I will still be monitoring them. Yet I will let them be because they already are efficient in doing the task. But if I'm progressing into change management, I need to do something for this, for the organization or for the practice. I can utilize the democratic approach at first, and then if there are decisions that needs to be done directly on that particular time, I can utilize an autocratic approach, right? So transformational leadership, on the other hand, can be used as well. If I want to use in the perspective of change management, if I want to transform the practice, I want to transform the organizational the processes, I can utilize a transformational leadership, guiding people, asking them to do this, yet supporting them on the other hand, making sure that the tools are there, providing them all the necessary. I am progressing now to utilize a servant leadership approach. So the best leadership style, if you are to ask me, is having no style, yet is flexible enough to adapt any style that is necessary based on the situation at hand. So with that, there is if you are being asked what is your style of leadership in an interview, let's say, if I am to ask you as an interviewer, I will ask you being an applicant, what is your leadership style? You can impress me by saying that you are adaptive and that you are flexible. Your style is a combination of all style, yet it is only it can only be applied into specific situations. You can progress further by asking the interviewer, can you give me or cite to me a specific situation wherein I will be able to give you how will I approach the situation, taking into account the styles of leadership that is involved in doing those activities pertaining to the situation that you are going to give me. So have this interaction between you and the interviewer so that the interviewer will have an impression or an in-depth analysis of your capacity to lead a particular team. I used to ask this to a leadership applicant, may it be a head nurse position or a similar service manager position. We used to, or any other practice development nurse position, specialist position. Uh, Although they are clinicians, they in a way will also be integral in the administrative role of head nurses. They will be asked to assess staff's competence. So that's an administrative and asking them to participate in the action planning or the performance improvement plan of a staff also is one of their roles. So might as well ask them about leadership styles. So in several occasions in the past wherein I was doing interviews, I used to to be impressed with the answer of an interviewee asking me to go deep in detail with my question. And one example of that is asking for a situation. So last tip, if you are being asked on what is your style, do not say that you are effective only in one style. You are effective, efficient in a lot of style, particularly in the five styles that I have mentioned. Yet if you can ask the interviewer to go in detail a specific situation, perhaps you can even go further as well in answering his question, right? So engage your employer or your interviewer by asking for in detail situation for you to answer in depth, uh, in depth, in depth how you are going to progress with your leadership. You can adapt any styles pertaining to the situation that the interviewer or the leader or the employer will ask you. Okay, so that's from me from the application side. I hope you have learned something from my own experience with that. So, more of the application, in order for a team leader or any leader to successfully lead a team, he or she should First, ensure that the objectives and goals are understood by the subordinates or all of the team members. A failure to communicate or failure to making the whole team understand the objectives and the goals on why we are working as a team or why we are working on such a project. The failure on this is the failure of the leader himself. So make sure that the objectives and the goals are understood. Ask for feedback, ask questions, ask your team questions indirectly or directly for you to assess if they really do understand or have the full knowledge of what the objectives and the goals of this activity has. Okay, we need also to ensure that our whole team has the clinical knowledge, skills, and the competence to perform the task. Uh, by asking questions, you will be able to assess if they need to have to undergo further trainings. Uh, we also have to have the time management skills as leaders, so that time management encompasses the, the the planning as well as implementing of our tasks in relation to the time frame that we have set at the beginning of our activities. That is time management. That is a skill that we need to develop. Also, the right values and the right ethics of our tasks, of our members, as well as ourselves as well. As a leader, we should have the right values and the ethics. We cannot just go and do a shortcut, and we cannot be effective leaders by doing this if we go and do the illegal thing. This is a no-no. Yes, tasks can be done easier if you if you utilize such route at such times, and, but that is not going to work all the time. So I suggest and I strongly suggest you do the legal way of doing things rather than doing the back the backward approach to getting your output. So have the ethics and the values to do the right thing, the right approaches at the right time, particularly in leading your team. Have the trust of your colleagues. If you are to be an effective leader, you must gain your colleagues' trust on you. How to do this? Make sure that you are competent enough yourself as well. Okay, make sure that you know the processes, all the routines, all of the complications, all possible scenarios that might occur. You may certainly not know everything, but if you know how to seek for the answers, to seek the solution, I think that would suffice for the time being. But having that, you must have the confidence to lead the team. Your members will feel and will feel you, will also assess the way they can engage, the way they will be engaging, the way they will participate. If based on your confidence, if you are confident to lead them, you will get them the first word that you engage them with. But if you are not confident to lead them, not confident yourself, you might lose them the first word that you utter that will come out from your mouth. The first word that you utter, you might lose them. So make sure that you are confident. Gain the trust of your colleagues. Make sure that you are confident and competent at the beginning of it all, so that you can gain the trust of your colleagues. So, having said that, I hope that helped you to formulate the persona and the integrity of a leader. That persona and that integrity that is within you. Just find and work on the appropriate skills for you to become effective leaders. So in the next few slides, as we end this presentation, I hope that I have shared knowledge, or you have benefited something out of this presentation. Always remember that a boss will always say go, but a leader will include himself and always will say let's go. Always find the solution rather than focusing and dwelling on the problem. Being frustrated is a recognition of the situation, yet dwelling on it for more time than usual will only hinder you from being effective. Find a solution when you face any challenge. and be the leader that you are ought to be. A good and effective leader has this attributes in him. It's the integrity. He has clear goals. He sets a good example. He has the vision. He clearly communicates. He only expects the best from his colleagues. He can give support. He knows when to ask for support. He feeds encouragement, positivity, recognition. He stimulates work. He focuses on team interests and needs. Inspires people. These are just some, but certainly not limited to this, are the attributes of a leader. You know what is the general statement of a good leader? There is none. So all the positivities that you can figure out, that you can integrate in your practice for you to become a good leader, apply them. There is no better way to learn to become a good leader than by experiencing them. We we will fail at times. Stand up and learn from those mistakes and integrate it into your practice in order for you to become a good leader. Along with these learning curves and progressing to become the best leader that you can possibly be, always and always put in your mind and your priority the safety of your colleagues and the safety of your person of the patients that you are caring for. So we can risk some, but certainly not the welfare and the safety of our patients and our colleagues. So by having said that, enjoy your journey, enjoy your day by day failures and achievements. Do not forget to celebrate small achievements. Enjoy your journey to become a good leader. So if I'm to ask you, you, yes you that is currently listening right now, for sure, you have experienced leading something, a group of people, maybe you and a colleague, three of them, five, a team. For sure, you have led either in school or in your practice right now in your profession. Based on what I have discussed, it's time to reflect. These are some questions for you to be guided on the reflection. You can pause and ask yourself of these questions. Hopefully, at the end of this, you will be able to realize how how lucky you are to have led a team and the opportunity that you had and the opportunity that you may have. Leading or starting to lead is just the beginning of the whole process. You need to understand before you proceed with the reflection that in leadership, your role as leaders, our role as leaders is vital. We have the uh, direct effect to the trajectories of the people that we lead, meaning we can influence them to be the better version of themselves, or if we go if we become negative towards it and we become unsuccessful in leading them, sometimes affect their lives, even their own personal lives. So it's our role as leaders, if you want to be effective leader, to make sure that you are influencing your colleagues, your team to be better, not only as a professional but also personal in their own ways, in their own homes, in their families. So be a better version of yourself in order for you to become to render a good coaching or leading leadership approach to your colleagues. Okay, in leadership, be very very cautious because you have the privilege to see a person excel and be successful. And at the same time, have the opportunity to see the ups and downs of every project. But behind all of that, be very cautious as well because you might influence a person or a group of people negatively and it might affect them negatively as well. So focus on the positives. Uplift those people that surrounds you. Make sure that you can be an effective and as efficient as a team leader could be. You having put the time and effort in listening to me, certainly has the attribute to become a successful leader. So lead well, my friend. And with that, I am thanking you for the time that you have joined me in this, and hopefully you have benefited out of it. So enjoy the rest of your day, and if you like what you have learned, and if you like the contents, feel free to like the video and subscribe to my channel. I will be uploading more of this, more of my previous presentation, and those that presentation that I will be doing in the future for my colleagues, nurses, and others who are interested as well to learn something from. So once again, my name is Eric, your nurse leader, and hopefully I can see you again in my future blogs. Have a nice day.